associate of mine where she had a position, a high ranking position with the company she was with. Um, and her real home is at like down in Miami. She stays up here near the Tallahassee area. So that's a long freaking commute. But for the most part, her husband, he stays down there and she stays up here. So, um, it's like a every other weekend situation where they either he'll come up or she'll go down or, you know, whatever. But I'm getting to the point of saying that, these type of relationships, whether by choice or by circumstances, they do exist. Now, what level or of happiness and how should I say, wanting to maintain your marriage is all about what you put into it. But actually having to be up under the same roof with someone day in and day out at this point in time, I think is not necessary. Way back in the day, it may have been, and this is with kids. These people that I'm speaking about, they have kids. So again, it comes back down to you doing whatever it is that you have to do to sustain a certain lifestyle, whether it be financial or again by choice of this is how you choose to live your life. It does happen, and it can work.
Okay, so these relationships and marriages that you're talking about, you talking about
Right.
your coworker whose drive was what you said, 2 hours or 2 days? 2 days?
2 days.
Okay, so did they start out the marriage like that, or did it occur like that because of the job?
From what he told me, he's always lived this type of lifestyle. So he actually met his wife while working.
Mm.
So she pretty much knew what it was, from the start. So
Okay. Now, the one that lives in Miami has the house in Miami but works in Tallahassee. Did that start out like that, or did that come about because of after the fact and because of the job?
it came back after the fact because they both got married right after college and both were doing good. And then when the last economy went bad, it came down to uh, we have to do something. We both can't be not, unemployed, sitting up here looking at each other. So, it came down to she found a position up here, that was paying the type of money that they're used to. And, luckily he was able to find one closer to their home. But, after a while, even when the economy came back, um, she just enjoyed, her job here, and they talked about it and she decided to stay. So they're still going through that. As far as I know, it's been a while since I talked to her, but I think it's just one of those circumstances where uh, they're not unhappy. Of course, I think they would both prefer to live in the same household, but again, she enjoys what she does and he enjoys what he does. So it's one of those circumstances where, you know, they're happy. So they're rolling with it.
I still have to go with my feelings on it. And again, I have not even gotten into the envelope of trust yet. But if me and another person is married, I prefer for us to be under one roof. Um, that's just because, you know, I don't need that much space from my spouse. Again, and this is, I'm talking about a spouse that I really love and really want to be with. we need to have a house that can accommodate me having my own space. Um, like if I want to go in the basement or the other side of the house where, you know, I can have my peace and quiet, don't want to be bothered, whatever the case may be, I can have that. I'll come to bed when I'm ready, or you know, whatever the case may be. But I can honestly, and I will honestly say, if I have that much space away from my spouse, no matter how much I love her or what, if we are living across state from each other, um, and across different states from each other or across the world, I'm not going to be faithful. I'm just not. And I'm gonna keep it all the way real, because if I'm married to you, we're married, then we should be easily available to each other for whatever it may be. And I'm not talking a phone call or a FaceTime and this that get no, hell no. Hell no. And it's not even about tradition. It's about, if I put in the work to marry you, we need to coexist together. If we cannot coexist under the same roof because, oh, well, I like my space and my peace of quiet and my solitude and my serenity and this, that, and the other, I don't need to be married to you, because as my mate, you should be able to enrich that whole thing. And it's not about me being up under you all the time, because when I wake up in the morning, babe, I'm going to work. I'll see you later. I'm out of the house 8, 10, 12 hours a day. If I work far, I'm gone all week. Unless my drive, my commute to work is more than 2 hours, 2 hours max for me. If my regular commute is 2 hours or more, yes, I'm going to get a place to stay during the week, because it makes no sense for me to have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be to work at 7:30, 8 o'clock, to get off at 4 or 5, to get home at 7, 8 o'clock, get to bed 10, 11 o'clock, then get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That is ridiculous. So if my commute is less than 2 hours, I mean, yeah, but on an everyday basis, let's say we work in the same city, or again, my commute is an hour and a half on a good day. I just don't see the need to do that unless you just want to have your own life.
So let me ask you this then. You say that you will not be able to maintain a relationship like that because you need, and basically what I'm hearing is you need more intimacy.
Goddamn right. You goddamn right. And it's not about me being soft or this, that, and the other. I'm a motherfucking man. I'm going to express my feelings and my needs. God damn it. Fuck all that. I need intimacy from my spouse. My wife. I need intimacy from my wife. If I'm not getting intimacy from my wife, and again, this has nothing to do with trust. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to crave that intimacy because that's what I want. That's what I got married for, to have intimacy with this one woman. If I'm not getting that intimacy, I'm not going to sit there on the fucking phone and have phone sex or FaceTime sex or video chat sex and beat my motherfucking meat to get satisfaction while I think about touching you, while I think about how good your pussy feel, or how I think about how good it feels to kiss you, or this, that. I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous to me. Again, I do not comprehend how two people who deeply love each other can live far away from each other and be okay with it and not have a separate lifestyle.
Interesting. Well, I just, again, for me, I guess because I'm at the age now where I really don't, how should I put this delicately?
Don't put that shit delicately. Spit that shit out. Spit that shit out.
It's kind of like when it comes down to being intimate, for me, don't get me wrong, I enjoy intimacy just as much as the next man or the next human being. But I'm just at a space now where I feel like if it happened, it happened. If it don't, it don't. I will do what's necessary, to take care of my mate, no doubt. But I just feel like it's not something that's high on my list of priorities anymore. It's kind of like in my younger years, there are three things I've known for. One, having money. Two, having a nice car. And three, having a badass bitch. Those were the three main things I was known for. But now that I'm older and, more mature and, of course, married, I have other shit that I'm pursuing now. You know what I'm saying? And being
Lord.
intimate is great. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love it just as much as the next person, but it's just not high on my list of priorities anymore. And that's just for me.
I can say this for people who feel like you. I can't speak for you specifically.
Right.
But most of the people that I know who say what you're saying are either burnt out from their marriage or marriage in general. They're no longer attracted to their spouse, or they just want to be single. And I'm not saying single to pursue other people. It's more so a single to where you don't want that extra. I'm not even going to use a cute word. You don't want that extra burden or responsibility of worrying about someone else's needs, because again, you're burnt out from either that relationship, or you're burnt out from relationships, period. That is the biggest thing that I've seen, because I know people who live in the same goddamn house but sleep in different damn rooms. And I'm like, why? And these people are very candid in saying, I don't want that person to touch me. I love them, but I don't want them to touch me. I don't want to be intimate with that person. We are no longer there. That's no longer a factor in our marriage. I know people who have husbands who are truck drivers or work away from home, and they're happy that that person is not there. They love the person, but they rather have that person not under the same roof because they are burnt out or tired of being married to that person. They're only married, well, not only, a couple of the reasons why they're still married is they have a lot invested in each other. One of them or both of them, they cannot live separately. They've been married so long that they have no desire to get out of that and go pursue another relationship and get back that, that feeling, that joy, and then the lifestyle that they have. So that's the general consistency of the people that I know who either live separately from their spouse or their spouse is not, it works away from home. And I promise you, that's what I've been hearing from the people that I talk to.
I mean, I get it. I could totally see how, some people would interpret that as far as like their own personal situations. Again, for me, I just feel like, I guess because I had so much sex when I was younger, man.
You
So,
burnt out.
you know what I'm saying? Like
You're burnt
I've
out.
pretty much done everything I wanted to do.
You're burnt
So
out.
um, within my marriage now, we're both happy as far as I know, anyway.
You say as far
Um,
as you know.
as far as I know, you know what I'm saying. I can't really speak for my wife, but
Oh
I can only go
man.
by what she's indicating to me. But um, I don't know. I think right now I'm just at that age where I really just want to focus on building shit, building businesses and leaving a legacy for my son. Something that, he can carry on to the next generation if he chooses to do so. So as far as like having a actual relationship where I had to live uh, underneath the same roof as my wife, I could totally go without it. And again, that's no disrespect towards her. If anything, in my eyes, is a compliment because I love my wife. I'm in love with my wife. We get along, pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's all goddamn roses and damn candy, but we have a pretty comfortable marriage. I'm happy. Again, you have to ask her how she feels, but the indication I'm getting is she's happy. So I think we're both at that point where um, she's building her businesses. I'm building mine. We, do what we do. We have fun. We laugh. We joke. Uh, Again, not every damn day is a holiday, but it damn sure ain't no damn storm. So actually having to live with someone 24/7, I'm perfectly okay with not doing that. I just I'm comfortable, and again, this is for me. I'm comfortable enough with myself that I'm in love with myself. I have respect for myself. When I look in the mirror, I can't look at the person that I'm staring at and say, you know what, I really don't like you. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. So, I, and again, not saying this, for against anyone else, but I'm just speaking on me particularly.
Mm.
So again, having watched those type of relationship, in my current environment, and I see that they do work. It just comes down to, for me, making sure that I'm happy. So if I felt like I wasn't happy, um, or didn't care for my mate anymore like that, then I'll just go ahead and tell her, hey, this shit ain't working for me.
There's a key thing in what you said that I picked up on.
All right.
You said, I am focused on building something to leave for my son. You said, I.
Right.
And then you said, I'm building my businesses and she's building her businesses. Why aren't y'all building a business to leave for your son?
It's all underneath the same umbrella. We're just branching off into our own separate line of businesses that we have an interest in. We don't really necessarily have a business that we have a joint interest in right now. I'm not saying that we won't eventually get there, but for right now, the things that I love are the things that I love, and the things she has an interest in, she has an interest in. So we're trying to build a business in those fields because I, for me, I find more passion, doing the things that I love, and the same thing for her. But we're all of those businesses are underneath the same umbrella, if you get what I'm saying. Meaning the parent company rules all of the separate entities.
Now, see, had you said we have this joint interest with different ventures, I would have took that a different way. But when you say I'm focused on building businesses to leave for my son, that to me sounds like I'm doing my own thing over here. She's doing her own thing over there. And then you brought under the same umbrella. And I'm like, wait a minute. Well, if you both have this joint interest in leaving something for your son, I would have imagined that you would have said, we are building this to leave for our son. I'm building this aspect of it, and she's building that aspect of it. And I said that to say, one of the biggest problems that we as a culture have, and we've probably touched on this on several episodes, we have a problem sticking together as it is. We've talked about broken homes and this, that, and the other, and all that, this, that, and the other. So when you look at having this type of relationship dynamic, you're not necessarily teaching, well, people are not necessarily teaching their children how to build family. They're not teaching them how to build community. They're not teaching them how to build togetherness. You're teaching them, okay, well, I'm gonna go over here and do this, you go over here and do that, and we'll come together whenever. And the problem that I see with that is our family structures are broken enough. So if we're saying, all right, well, let's agree that you live over here and I live over here. And then in the midst of that, you both have two totally different lifestyles. You start having two totally different interests. You have no concrete or serious desire to be together as a unit, because one or both of them is like, I'm okay with, living apart and doing this and doing that. Home is good. I'll go home on this day or that day, or she'll come down this day or that day, because it's a choice. Then again, at what point do we build our foundation as a people? Because now it's like, it don't matter. Oh, we'll be okay. Well, I don't. And then it's like, okay, forget our needs. Forget speaking about marital tradition. Again, it's building a foundation for our children to keep building upon. If we keep building up and branching away, not branching out, branching away, what do we have?
I have to say, I get what you're saying. Again, for us in my household, although she is the owner of her business, I'm the owner of my businesses. Her name's still on my shit. My name's still on her shit. So when it comes down to making decisions within those businesses, if I have something that I might need someone to bounce an idea off of, or, vice versa for her, then we come together on that. Mm-hmm. But as far as a family structure, our family structure is still intact. Again, we still live under the same household. We do all the things for the lack of a better word, a traditional marriage. We do. But again, this is just us wanting to build something, for our child. I could see how some people, when they build separately like that, and they have no interaction with their mate whatsoever, as far as like what comes down to their business, I can see how that may take them, separately in different directions. And eventually it may lead to a place where they don't want to be with each other like that anymore. But for me, in my situation, again, everything falls up underneath the same umbrella, even though our interests are different. It's kind of like with her line of business, what she does, that's her career path. What I do in my career path is my career path.
Mm.
But to the original point of living in the same household, I don't think it's necessary that you have to do that in this day and age. Um, Again, the point that I'm standing on is if you love someone, you don't necessarily have to be with them, under the same roof. If you love someone, you just love that person, and of course you change throughout the years, and there may be a point where with any relationship that things change. It's just part of the gamble, I guess you could say. So it just depends on how big of a gamble you actually wanna take, and once that
Mm.
unfolds for you, are you willing to stick with the initial idea of what it is that you want from a marriage?
Yeah, again, yeah, people do it all the time. But, you know, again, I know people who love their husband, love their wife.
Mm-hmm.
But intimacy is not a factor in their relationship because they're way past that. They
All right.
don't desire that person in that way. They don't want that person in that way. And they
Mm-hmm.
have other interests outside of their marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not a professional in this field in to any degree, but I would have to say, well, how much do you really love this person if you have no intimacy with this person and you're seeking intimacy outside of your marriage? Um, and again, with our culture, we have a problem sticking together and building as it is. It doesn't even have to be, business. It's, family structure, period. We have a lot of young people out here who don't have a damn clue on how to build a relationship or build community because they are so free with, all right, well, my lady stay over here, I'm gonna stay over here, she gonna do her, I'm gonna do me, we'll see each other when we see each other.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's my thing. um and again, what are we passing down to our children? you know and then on top of that, it's like living apart, you're going to have other interests outside of your marriage. You People may say, well, I do love my spouse, but how much do you love your spouse if you have interests outside of your marriage that do not mentally and emotionally fund your marriage? Your marriage is bankrupt. You can say, oh, I love my spouse all day, but your interest is not with your spouse. Your intimacy level, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or whatever, is not even there. But, oh, I love my spouse. Okay, but you don't have a desire to be with your spouse at least 3, 4 times out of the week? Or because you have a different place here and, you know, oh, well, it works for us. Okay, but how really is it working? Is it working for you or is it working for y'all? Um, for me, if I had a one, well, let me put it this way: when I got married before I got married the third time, she lived in Charlotte, um, and we would travel back and forth to see each other.
Mm-hmm.
My thing was this: if we're going to be married, if we're going to do this, we need to be in the same place because if you 8 hours away from me, eight and a half hours away from me, I'm not getting any intimacy from you. I don't want to talk to my girlfriend, wife, but I don't want to talk to my wife on the phone the majority of the time that we're together. I don't want to FaceTime you the majority of the time we're together. You might as well just be a goddamn friend at that point.